Not being on the internet for Shabbat was a long Shabbat, knowing that Israel was so nervous and under so much pressure from all the threats of Iran. And of course, opening our phones right after Shabbat and finding out that the mullahs and terrorists in Iran fired over 300 drones and missiles, etc., is really frightening. And yes, Israel knocked them down. 99% of them never even made it to Israel. With the help of Jordan, and with the help of Saudi Arabia even, and of course the US and UK, in a remarkable fashion, Israel survived unscathed. But this is really a warning sign. And the reality is that 15 years ago with Hamas, we said the same thing. We don't have to worry because we have the technology to knock them down. Of course, we know what happened on October 7th. Imagine if these were nuclear heads on these missiles. Israel doesn't have a choice. How they respond, when they respond, that's up to the military and up to the leaders. But for the president of the free world to tell Israel to take it as a win because we knocked down all the missiles and not to respond, and for the president of the free world to tell Iran, don't worry, we will not respond, is painful, is shocking, and is the wrong message to send. The world needs to respond. How we respond, that's for the world and the allies to discuss. But Israel is the only country in the world that's told that we have the right to defend ourselves. Yet, whenever we want to defend ourselves, the world screams against us in shocking fashion. But it's interesting, because in a week from tomorrow night, we're going to be sitting by the Seder tables. And we'll be with our family, with our friends, with our community, with children, grandchildren, uncles and aunts, grandparents. And we start the Seder singing the 15 signs of the Seder. Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpas, Yachatz. Now what does the word Seder mean? Do you know what the word Seder means? Seder means an order. And the question is, of course, if there's any night that has no order, that's full of chaos, it's the night of the Seder. This grandchild spilled the grape juice. This one's hungry for more brisket. This one is tired. This one came late. There's not enough of this and there's too much of that. The wrong person is reading. In most Jewish homes, the Seder is anything but orderly. And not only that, the question the rabbis ask is, I don't understand. The Rosh Hashanah has an order to it. Shavuot has an order to it. Sukkot, every holiday. So why is this the holiday that's called Seder? Why do we call the Seder the Seder? If it's not even so orderly, and definitely it's not the theme, just because we start off with the 15 Simanim, the 15 signs of the Seder, that's why we call it a Seder. There must be a deeper message to why it's called Seder, which means order. And the Maral of Prague, the famous Rabbi Yehuda Lau, the great Kabbalist who was born on Passover, says something so moving and so powerful that I think speaks to the world we live in, especially in the last 7 months. And he says like this, what the Torah is telling us on the night of our liberation, on the night when the Jewish people celebrate becoming a people, on the night when we celebrate that which we have overcome generation after generation, anti-Semite after anti-Semite, Jew-hater after Jew-hater. What the Haggadah is telling us by naming the meal we have, the Seder, is telling us that even when sometimes things look chaotic, even when sometimes it looks like there's such madness, it's a world gone mad, so much hate, when people in America are celebrating, when a terrorist country that wreaks so much havoc all over the world throws 300 missiles and Scuds to kill people and calls for the annihilation of an entire people, and yet people in America and Canada are celebrating that? When you have leaders in the world and in Congress that scream all day about ceasefires but haven't uttered one word to condemn what happened, it's a world of chaos. The world's upside down. And by the way, the world of chaos is not just when it comes to Israel and Iran and Hamas. You look around America and you look at what people do and what they want and where we are standing, and you wonder, it's a world of chaos, there's madness. And you think to yourself, you sit down the first night of the Seder, when you're sitting down to celebrate our redemption from slavery over 3,000 years ago, something we celebrate ever since, have never missed, when we celebrate freedom, and you look and you say, is it possible in this madness, in this world gone crazy, to really have a Seder, to really have it put together? You're worried. You look at what happened in Israel yesterday and you say, what's going to be? Israel's attacked from all sides. Everyone hates them. Everyone wants to kill them. Every one of their neighbors, even some of their allies. Canada has restricted weapons to Israel. The free Western world. Says the Seder, Rabbi Lau tells us, the great Kabbalist, comes along the Seder and says, tonight is called the Seder. Even if the grape juice spills, and even if the kids are crying, and even if the soup is cold, and even if the fish comes out late, and even if the brisket is overcooked, because sometimes you don't see the method to the madness, but there's a God, and Hashem runs the world, and Hashem is the one who makes a Seder. And although we might not see it, not tonight and not in the long night of exile, as Jews who have suffered so much, we have to know and we have to have faith and we have to have confidence that there is a Seder, there is an order. And that's the message of Passover. So, when you sit down with your family in a week from tomorrow night, and you sing Kadesh or Chatz, and you look around at the people, and you think about the world we live in, and you think and you worry about what the future holds for us, remember that you're celebrating a Seder because there is an order, and that's an order that God has put into this world. And as challenging as it looks at the time, our deep faith, our resounding faith and conviction, our resilience as a people, our convictions in who we are and the morals and ethics that the Torah has taught us will allow us to survive and to thrive and overcome every adversary, because the Seder will happen, and that requires us to have faith. The Israeli army has to do what it has to do. The Israeli public has to do what it has to do. We have to support them unequivocally, both in words and social media, in support, financial, emotional, moral. But at the end of the day, the Seder will happen, and God will protect His people, and the people of Israel, and Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. God bless you. Have a great